You are watching an MLGA Network live broadcast. The only people for me are the mad ones.
The world is filled with the boring and the barely conscious.
The misery loves company.
But we don't have to live this way.
Jessica and I are here to talk to those the system rejects, to radicals and thought criminals.
The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but push the boundaries of acceptable discourse.
Those who stare reality in the face and dare it to be different.
History isn't made by the timid, and fun is not had by the perpetually afraid.
We are the mad ones.
So let's get to it.
Welcome to the Mad Ones. I'm your red meat and potatoes host, Cam Harless, and with me, as always, the soup canarchist, the I think chili is a stew-archist herself, Miss Jessica Green.
Hello.
How you doing, Jessica?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I am tired because I have 5 children, and 3 of them at this moment are sick, and it may be a 4th, but I don't know yet for sure. I won't know that until I get off of this.
I hope not.
But I'm on my 2nd Red Bull, so I think I'm going to make it. But dear audience, joining us today within this demented realm of madness and off-limit jokes it's someone you may recognize. You may know him from his fire tweets, his playing of the video games, or from commentary you can find on his YouTube or Twitch. A member of our very exclusive and sexy commentariat. Coming straight to us from the dojo is your boy, Perky Biscuits.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
That was quite an intro.
Yeah.
I that is one of my favorite things that I do every week is write the intro.
It's like a fishing story. It actually gets bigger every time.
Hey, I mean, if you got it, flaunt it.
Right.
5 kids. You got 5 kids.
Man. I have 5 children.
It's rough.
You know,
I mean,
it's exhausting, but you know they are cute, so you know it mostly works out. I mostly don't want to kill them in their sleep. You know.
I guess that's mostly what being a parent is about.
Well, I've told Jessica this before. I used to work at Books A Million, and at one point, this little girl, tiny little girl, at that point in my life, I was probably 19, maybe the cutest girl I'd ever seen. Little toddler thing, and she was screaming and yelling and just acting, as we say in the South, just acting ugly.
Yeah.
And I looked at my manager and I said, man, you know, if God didn't make him cute, we'd kill him. And that dude looked at me and he goes, I don't believe in God.
Wow.
I was like, that's what you got from that?
An asshole.
Thanks, Ray.
How do you ruin a wonderful statement like that?
I don't know. So to get started, you're on Twitch. I like to think of you as the kind of apolitical, pushes up against the grain PewDiePie in our circle.
I did stream the insurrection that one day. It was hilarious. That was a hilarious day.
That was the best day.
It was so much fun.
Yes, it was.
Everybody was so upset. They were crying.
What was funny about that day?
Online.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, Cam wasn't online for like the first half of the day, and I was so upset. I was like, if he misses this whole thing, it's the best day. And I don't know, you were doing some adult shit, but you finally got online, and I was like, the best day is happening.
Actually, I had a really good day the other day, too. We both did. What was it that was... Oh, was it International Women's Day? Just fucking went off all day. And it was just... Oh,
it was International Women's Day, and then there was the Super Straight the other day, which was so much fun.
What's funny is I told Jessica not to look it up because we're about to talk about Super Straight.
And I didn't. I heard some things, but I avoided it. Coming in fresh.
Have you gone into the Super Straight thing on your feeds and stuff yet?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the time. Here's the time to talk about Super Straight. So Super Straight you are a straight man, I assume,
Yeah.
based on your cadence and calling people retards. That's what we do.
I mean, don't let the pink lights and general demeanor fool you.
But one of the things I'm really glad that I got married and had children when I did, because it was, I mean, it was almost 8 years ago was when I got married.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know why you're asking me.
It was more of a rhetorical device. But no, it was about 8 years ago, and it was like when the kind of conversation about trans women and dating them being or not dating them started to come up, but it wasn't like big. But like right now, there's a whole load of dudes, teenagers up to 20s and stuff, who are being told that if they only like natural women or biological women, as it were, that they're transphobic. That it's transphobic, and you're not allowed to decide who to date based off of their genital configuration, but rather their gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I would probably be, if I was in that part of my life, like, you know what? How about fuck you? Because what? So on TikTok, are you on TikTok?
No. I mean, I have an account, and I wanted to bully children on there eventually. I'm going through some things right now. Right. I haven't had time to bully children on another social media.
I like how you can't be a bully because you're going through things. It's preventing you from getting to who you really are.
I'm very busy. My kitchen, no more. I came into this house, beautiful kitchen, gone.
Oh, that's because of the flood, right?
Well, yeah. It was. Yeah. I came home, river. There was just a pool of water just in the floor.
Condolences. As a homeowner, condolences.
Disaster.
Did it happen on International Women's Day?
It should have, because of the patriarchy. I deserved it because I'm a man.
Well, I mean, they just wanted to make sure you could get your wife would get out of the kitchen, right? Mm. Or girlfriend or whatever. I haven't talked to you about this.
She was working.
But on TikTok, this one guy, which I'll pull up this video now, but he came up with a solution for the young men who are told that they're transphobic and hate people because they want the real deal rather than some surgically created Frankenstein vagina. So here's the video. Here's your first taste, Jessica.
Yo guys, I made a new sexuality now, actually. It's called super straight, okay? Since straight people or straight men as myself, I get called transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans woman. They're like, would you date a trans woman? I'm like, no, why? That's a female. No, like, that's not a real woman to me. Like, I want real woman. No, you're just transphobic. So now, I'm super straight. I only date the opposite gender, women, that are born women. So you can't say I'm transphobic now because that's just my sexuality,
Yeah. Wait, that's just the truth. Wait, why is that controversial?
Oh, it's not only controversial. That video does no longer exist on his TikTok because he got death threats. Yeah, he got death threats and had it taken off.
Well, I thought the entire precept of the LGBTQA non-movement is that sexuality is something that you have no control over. Therefore, it's how you're born and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to be respected for exactly who you are. So straight sexuality would fall underneath that category. Nope. Yeah, that's
everybody but straight men and women. And actually, and like
gay men and women.
Yeah, gay men. There's super gay men and super lesbians. Which this is why this event was so wonderful, because I got to say super lesbians.
What is the technical definition of a super lesbian? I gotta know.
They only want women that were born natural a woman. Yeah.
Super lesbians. Yeah.
I love
it.
Yeah, it's like the muddying of the waters of sexuality and the way we talk about it is just insane.
Yeah.
And it's so when he said super straight, I don't think he was thinking in any form of Nazi way, but when you shorten super straight, it's SS.
Oh no.
And so of course, the leftists, the feminists, were like, "Oh, well, this is a bunch of Nazi adjacent right-wing hatred of trans people and transphobes."
Yeah, I
and,
saw they made the black orange flag with the SS in the Nazi letters.
Wow. Excellent. Okay.
They only have one joke. It's so stupid.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You're a Nazi.
It's a joke and it's not. What it does is it shuts down the uncomfortable confrontation because they'll run through their script. They have like a set of 20 to 10 things that they know how to say in response to anybody. And when those responses don't yield the result that they want, they just say Nazi. And like, because that's the worst thing you can be in our society, that ends the conversation. Okay, you're a Nazi now. Game over. Like that shit's crazy.
The trick is to not play their game and don't be like, oh, I'm not a Nazi. You just go, yeah, I don't care. Just go.
Yeah.
But that's what's so crazy about me not about me. That's what's so crazy about it for me.
That you're not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls. I'm a pick-me girl. But no, it's when I hear this argument that you're transphobic or you're not, or some of the arguments have been ridiculous, but that if you prefer a woman with a homegrown vagina, that you're a bad person.
Homegrown vagina.
Yeah. Organic, free range vagina.
GMO vagina.
Yeah.
Or non-GMO.
Or non-GMO.
Vagina, rather.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, apparently you're a bad person. And there was one, I didn't pull this clip because she's so insufferable to watch. But there's this chick, I think her name is Victoria on TikTok, who was talking about how, you know what, if you're a straight man and you're dating a girl and you like her, you have sex, the sex is good, and then you find out that she's trans and you don't like her anymore because of that, then you're a transphobe and a bad person. And it's like, well, what if I wanted to have like a fully working uterus in the person that I married so that I could procreate naturally?
They don't care. That's not an argument. You can adopt. Is the answer they pull out?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an answer that they pull out, but adoption is like so much more difficult than people realize. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. They make it so hard. There's so many kids that need homes, and they make it impossible for And don't get me wrong, they shouldn't just be handing out kids to anybody who wants one. There should be
sure
a
about
process.
that? There should be like puppies on the corner.
Yeah, like in a box. Like,
you're doing a good home.
But when you go in the state, this is a sidetrack, but in the state of Georgia, when you go to the adoption website, they have the pictures and the ages up there. It's very much like a dog. Like, oh, little Janie is a cute blonde 7-year-old and she enjoys checkers. And you're like, okay.
That you're dangerously close to shopping for a human.
Yeah.
But is she super straight is the question.
Well, you're supposed to know by 3 years old exactly who you're going to be as a fully formed adult, as like a self-actualized adult. And you should be allowed, of course, at 3 years old to choose your gender, even though you might think you're a dinosaur the next day. I'm not sure.
That's the craziest argument. They're going to let children take hormone blockers, but not get tattoos.
Right.
Yeah.
Or smoke.
The solution is to let babies get tattoos. Of course, that's.
I'm down.
I mean, I agree with that.
I agree.
Do. Yeah.
I'm all for tattoos.
I've got a tattoo appointment on March 27th, by the way. So I'm going to be doing this arm on the other side of my rattlesnake. So if you have any ideas or anyone who listens wants to throw up an idea, let me know. Maybe I will actually go with the idea of someone that listens to this show. Someone said a jackalope.
No,
what?
do not let the internet choose your tattoo for you. That can only end in tears.
And that's what I thought. And so I kind of sarcastically put it on Twitter, but someone was like, you should get a jackalope. And I was like, that's actually a great fucking idea.
On the other side of the rattlesnake, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
Is there like a story significance to the jackalope and the snake?
I am well beyond story at this point with tattoos.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if there was maybe there was like an old Native American myth about a jackalope and a snake that I didn't know.
There might be.
I mean, there probably is one.
There probably is one.
Yeah, but I'm super white, so
you're super white.
super white.
But no, like I do have different tattoos I want to get because my family, like I said, I have 5 children. Every one of these children, me and my wife, have all been assigned animals in some sense. It started with because when me and my wife were dating, she at one point called me a bear, and I was like, I'm not a gay man. The fuck are you talking about? And so, I called her a fox, and that kind of became a part of our relationship. And then our first son's middle name is Wolf. And so everyone one of my family has a different animal that kind of we thought about and chose based on them, who they are, etc. And so I'll go through and I'll do those different animals at different points. I may end up doing the wolf next. But fucking jackalope would just be tight, dude.
Jackalope would be tight.
They are
like that's just a good idea.
Would you do it in the same art style as the snake?
Yeah, dude. I need to make some changes on what I've got now, but I'm moving to American traditional across the board. I'm going to be American traditional everywhere. I just fell in love with it, and I'm like, this is what I want to do with my body for the rest of my life. Of course, Ryan, you don't know who Ryan is, but he's my partner in crime when it comes to business and the network that we run and all that. But he's very against tattoos because of heavy metal poisoning, and I'm like, give me that heavy metal poisoning.
Dude, I eat sushi like I'm a crack addict. I don't care.
But yeah, so anyone who listens to this, if you have an idea for a dope-ass American traditional tattoo, let me know. But I don't know how we got there. Super straight.
Super straight.
Straight.
It's so ridiculous we couldn't even talk about it.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it came out, they were like, oh, this is harmful towards gay, trans people and whatever. And then they sent him death threats to the point where he had to take it down. This was a 16-year-old, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, he's
that
a
they
kid.
bullied. Yeah.
And so when Jessica asked me, is this a right versus left thing? Who started this super straight thing? And I was like, I guess the right, if you really want to classify it that way, but this is like young men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a reaction by people who have sexual preferences that they don't want to be squashed by, the Leviathan, by the cathedral, by all the people who tell them they're wrong and how they should live their lives.
We used to joke that it was going to get down to the point of suck the dick or you're a bigot. And we've got there. We've gotten there. Congratulations, folks. We've gotten there.
The slippery slope has stopped being a fallacy.
Yeah. Well, it's become like sci-fi where anything we predict then becomes the future. So we should stop giving them ideas because 4chan, it thinks it's funny, but then the left is like, that's a great one. And then they run with it for real.
Yeah, like we've been running with this thing for the past how many years?
Right.
4chan, right. I get it. Congratulations, 4chan. You did a wonderful thing by trolling the universe. But now you can't do this without being a Nazi.
Right. You can't play a game that we all played in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Without being called a Nazi.
Oh, right. But nobody said it yet. The circle game with the OK in the hand yet. People listening are probably very confused.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyone who's listening, we are throwing up that OK white power symbol. But speaking of white power, there was an older gentleman, I think he's probably my age, maybe a little older, who heard that they were calling, older than this 16-year-old.
Okay.
Who heard that they were calling these kids Nazis and white supremacists and transphobes and shit like that. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a video for the kids, letting them know that this is okay. So I figured I'd share that one as well because it made me laugh. If it'll play. It doesn't look like it wants to.
It's got dad vibes off that guy.
What the play?
Looks like he's mid-run.
Like
he's one of those jogging influencers.
Great way to stay in shape.
Maybe I can pull that up in a little bit. Would be my luck. But yeah, and so he was just basically saying, he said to all the you history nerds out there that are talking about the SS and Nazis, these kids don't know about the Nazi secret police and the people who killed all the Jews. They're just saying super straight, and there's nothing wrong if you don't want to marry a girl who once had a dick. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
What's even funnier is I saw one post that had a giant thread. And it was just all the reasons why it was dangerous. And one of them was because you'd never be able to tell the difference, like post-surgery. And I'm like, false. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
I've read the reports. I didn't sleep for a week.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I know the truth now. Not okay.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the natural. It's just not.
Let's get gross for a second here.
Oh,
One of the
let's.
things that I realized when I met a trans man, it's always hard for me to say which one is which, because it's like your brain wants to say the
Isn't
wrong
it the
one.
final transition? So like if it's
Right,
male,
yeah.
the female is trans woman.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I met I have it backwards then. I met a trans woman. See?
Was a man,
but,
became a woman.
but she it's hard to put this stuff together. But I was talking to this person and they were letting me know that after you have the surgery to remove the penis, you actually have to have something that you insert inside to keep the hole from healing up.
Yeah, you're creating a wound. They're literally creating a wound. I had to go to the hospital in Walter Reed, so I knew a bunch of amputees and stuff. When they have their surgery, it's a wound, and there's very specific things you need to do to make sure that shit heals, because your body doesn't like unnatural open holes. The vagina is not that.
Yeah.
Right.
No shit.
Well, and
Like you
I've
can't
also
even keep
heard,
your ear pierced without constantly re-piercing it with another earring. Like
Exactly.
even that tiny hole will seal up.
same thing with a
Oh.
newly crafted vagina. Another thing, if we have you ever heard on
I am
Reddit?
terrified right now.
It's
On
horrible.
Reddit, there are a couple of subreddits that are like D-trans, where there are a lot of people who come together who said, I went through this
Mhm.
and I realized I changed my mind. I have regret. I made a mistake.
Oh no. Oh.
And it's a but well, they're all helping each other.
Yeah.
So it's all
okay.
it's actually all a very positive experience, but it's something that I've scrolled through. I don't recommend scrolling through though, because you learn of a lot of medical issues that you don't want to learn about. Like,
okay.
like the penis at the base of it, it's hairy. Just so you know. And so when you tuck that in, hair can come out,
Well, wouldn't
which is
that
not
help
something
the?
you want.
Wait, I thought it was the ball sack.
It may be. It's something.
I'm
It's something that has hair on it.
Sorry, yeah, this gets gross. Mr. Medicare, if you can find the video, has a great video on it, but his channel got removed. But I'll try to find it and send it to you guys.
Go ahead.
It's the ball sack, I believe.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
one of the
can't
parts that
stop
has
it.
hair.
You can't stop it from growing hair.
And that tissue, the ball, just so you know, ball tissue, I'm sure you know, you're a woman who's married, very similar to scrotum tissue. So they utilize it. I'm sorry, ball tissue is very similar to labia tissue.
I see. Okay.
Okay,
So it's like you said ball tissue is similar to scrotum tissue. And I was
Right.
like, should
I had to back up because I said the wrong part. But yeah, no, it's very similar to labia tissue. And so they utilize that in that penis removal, which I'm mansplaining at the moment.
Yeah.
But they use that. And so there are
many things.
if you scroll through Reddit in those different places where these people are honest about what happened, honest about their experience, honest about going, shit, I shouldn't have done this. You hear these horror stories. And so it's one of those things where when Victoria or whoever the feminist that came on that called every man who doesn't want a trans woman a transphobe, she just doesn't, I don't think she understands what she's talking about, because these are not the same thing.
They're fairy tales. They're telling fairy tales.
So
I I find this baffling, to be honest.
The female to male isn't much better. It's more comical in to what it actually looks like and how it functions, because it can't get hard naturally. Yeah. So it's you either got to go the Air Jordan route, which so if a guy breaks his dick, sometimes they'll take out one of his nuts and replace it with like a pump, like on Nikes. So that way when you want erection, you just pump it up. Oh yeah.
Is that for real?
Oh, for sure.
That is fascinating. I'm learning so many things today.
This is a disgusting science hour with Cam and Perky.
Great, go. Please continue.
Sometimes you can get like
Can I get a squeaky toy?
I don't know about that. You could probably a special request maybe, but like semi flaccid rods, so whether it's like half chub or like full woody. I don't know why you'd want to just walk around with a full erection. The one clip I saw of it taking a piss, right? It was like 18 inches long. I'm like, why would you want it that big, bro?
Right.
It's a Pringles can looking thing.
So this is if you break your dick, if your dick has like a bending in half style injury.
Yeah. Okay. So if you relate it to what we're talking about,
those are the options.
Where they get the skin is also they take like a big section of your forearm or like your quad or something, and then they basically just wrap it around a Pringles tube.
Right. Wow. That's the same thing they do if you get burned. They take a skin graft. Okay. Wow. I am learning so many things today that I didn't know.
You learn a lot on just scrolling through Reddit and just
Wow. But that's the thing. So when these people make these claims, it's not only like ludicrous on its face where you go, but I want to have a woman who I can possibly have children with. Or you don't even have to go to that, because it's like these things are clearly not the same. And let's not pretend. I mean, like, I'm not saying so like if you call me a transphobe for not wanting to marry a trans person, like fine, give me that label. I don't care. Give me that label.
Who cares?
I don't care.
Shut up.
But if you're going to call me that because I have knowledge about things or I want something, I mean, it's amazing. The world we live in is all I have to say right now.
The mental gymnastics. We've made it an everyday thing.
As early as the 90s, I think it was, that finding out that you couldn't have children on the part of either part of the marriage, male or female, was grounds for divorce. That was like legally you could take your spouse to court and be like, this person can't have children, I'm out. Yeah. And a lot of states didn't get rid of those laws up until like the 90s. So I think that plays a role here. If your intent in getting married is to bear children and a person is lying to you, like, and you go through all this marriage contract and you spend all this money and you do all this stuff and then they're biologically male, I think that there's some legal issue here.
I think you'd figure it out long before you actually.
Some people don't want to know things, you know.
But
that's don't see what you don't want to see.
That's another one of the points, though, is that these people say that it's not incumbent upon the trans person to tell their partner that they are trans. So they don't have to share that secret.
Ever.
And so it's like...
These are also from the same section of the state country where they decided it's no longer a crime to tell people you have AIDS before you have sex.
Yeah, so that's another thing, that you used to have to get blood tests before you got married for that exact reason too, because somebody turning up with an STD was, and this wasn't that long ago, just like 30 years ago, to get married. And
I'm 27.
Okay, so fair enough. But in the 90s, this is not everywhere. I mean, I'm sure they got rid of it in some states faster than others, but there were a lot of rules about getting married. And one of them was that you had to get blood tests to confirm that neither one of you had anything like syphilis or anything like that, which again could prevent childbearing. And that if you found out that your spouse couldn't have children, that was grounds for annulment and dissolved the marriage. So, you know, it's kind of strange to me that we should have this
like very quickly this flip in our mindset that says, you know, it's okay to completely fabricate your gender to your spouse, even to the point like you and your spouse are trying to get pregnant and she's going through fertility treatments because she can't get pregnant and you're lying about not being genetically male. Not that I think it could get that far. I do think, again, you would, once you got a real close look at what you were dealing with, you would probably figure it out. But
I'm going to let you in a little secret. You wouldn't even have to look. You could probably smell it from a mile away.
Well, I mean, I do think pheromones play a role and stuff like that too. But yeah, so I think you would know. But
Yeah.
Some people are fools. There's a lot of stupid people in the world.
A lot of stupid.
There's a lot.
And Ryan brought up that he thought that the California law that talked about AIDS was not having to. You could give AIDS you could give blood if you have AIDS now, which is a separate issue, but it was tied in around the same time where it used to be a crime if you had AIDS or HIV and you didn't divulge that to your partner before you had sex with them, because it's less of a death sentence now. But in the 80s, when Dr. Fauci lied about it, it was a death sentence.
Yeah, it took Freddie Mercury from us, man. Like,
he should have worn a mask.
The AIDS got us. Yeah, he should have double masked, but he didn't.
And let's just say, you know, Dr. Fauci was one of the people who put some extra stigma on AIDS by citing a study that posited that it was possible with close contact in a family that AIDS could be spread between people. And he essentially pushed that study to say that you could get it from outside of sexual contact or bloodborne.
That's
and that if you you sat down on the wrong toilet seat or touched the wrong doorknob, you could get it. So Dr. Fauci,
I remember being in elementary school and being told that you could get AIDS from a toilet seat at school. I remember
you can thank Dr. Fauci for that.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, no, and it's completely untrue. It's completely untrue. The HIV virus survives for like a few minutes to a couple of seconds outside the right environment, inside of the body. You know what I mean? So like on a toilet seat, it could never, unless you were like having sex on the toilet seat.
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like
we're an expert.
Right. Well, Dr. Fauci, we're still dealing with the same villains that we had when we were kids. Like if you looked at the Trump administration over the last 4 years, Bill Barr was Attorney General, who was also Attorney General under George H.W. Bush, and then protected the Lon Horiuchi, the guy who shot Vicky Weaver on Ruby Ridge, from being prosecuted for killing her. And then he was also happened to be at Waco, where bullets were shot out of his gun.
Fantastic.
And it was never counted. So Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, all of these people are the same villains we've had our entire lives.
Well, they've been all in office for 40 something years.
Right. And Fauci is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. These
Big
are
club.
unelected. Yeah.
People need to know that.
It's kind of odd to me to be confronted with somebody, because you are younger than we are, and I'm saying these things as if everyone knows them implicitly, and then to see your eyes kind of like light up, like, did that really happen? I wasn't aware of it. It's surreal to me. It makes me realize how many things like just get passed by. People don't know.
Well, I didn't know because I wasn't alive.
No, and that's fair. That's completely fair. That's a reason not to know a thing, believe me. Like
I learned the Fauci thing about AIDS 2 days ago.
Right.
That's
so we
crazy.
lose. Yeah, we're losing a lot of like what I think is implicit knowledge. Just like year by year, it becomes less and less. Like and this Fauci thing, like that's from before mine and Cam's time. Other people had to remind us of that because we wouldn't have remembered. But do you remember watching Waco on TV? Are you old enough to remember having seen Waco?
I wasn't. I remember
Were you not?
a little more.
Okay. So you definitely, Perky, were not old enough to remember Waco.
No.
No, okay.
What year was that?
94?
I think it's 93.
93. Okay.
Well, I was either 0 or less than 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
That gives me a good window. Okay.
Yeah. I was about 5 when Waco happened.
Yeah.
I remember
okay.
9/11. That's what I remember.
Well, and that I was talking.
Yeah.
Who was it that we were talking? It was Binkley last week, where I said the way that I can tell that you're a millennial is if you fucking remember 9/11. Anyone who doesn't is not a millennial. That's some other thing.
Yeah, we used to be able to see the tops of it from the schools, and then you couldn't anymore. Like in the fall, you could see the tops of it from Jersey, and then you couldn't anymore.
How old were you?
Crazy.
How old were you at 9/11?
3rd grade. So.
Oh wow! So this has been your entire life. You've lived in this post 9/11 world for your entire life.
Oh yeah, I'm a Patriot Act baby.
God. You see, you must see the world just a little bit different than I do, because I was 16 when 9/11 happened. So I had this like
probably.
I was in
medieval
like 6th
times.
or 7th
I was like
grade. I was like 12 or 13.
I was a full-grown adult by medieval standards at that point. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the world was better before. Just a
But
little
now we
better.
have a new normal.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now. The way that things were before 9/11 and the way that they're after, I think we're experiencing the same with COVID. That there was going to be
this is a new Patriot Act.
A before world. We'll remember the world before, and we'll tell people how much better it was.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
I was
not going
watching.
back.
Have you ever heard? I forget I think the show's called Blown Away on Netflix, where it's glass blower competition. And I love all sorts of shit like that. I like watching blacksmiths and all that crap. That's just fascinating to me.
That's cool shit.
But there was one woman made a glass display piece art project. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was called Shared Breath. And it was based off of her relationship with her little sister when she was born. And so it was essentially just a glass tube with holes on either side, and you shared breath. And for the first time since COVID has happened, I saw the 2 judges put their mouths on either side, and I thought about, oh shit, that's not something you're going to see anymore.
That's a before thing.
Like it was
in the
kind
movies, we'll see things like that.
Kind of a bizarre thing to think about.
We'll see people shaking hands, actually giving hugs, opening doors for strangers. I don't know.
Licking each other's mouths.
Yeah.
Big outdoor concerts out in the mud and the rain, sharing blunts with everybody. Like that.
Oh yeah, Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No more of that shit.
Oh no.
People, yeah, and
well,
those
concerts still exist, but you got to be in one of those giant fucking bubbles or whatever.
Yeah, it's not the same.
You see the kids chorus thing when they're wearing those fucking things, or the tuba players where their mouths are cut out of the masks. And I'm thinking, when do we start realizing we're living in a clown world?
Right.
People keep saying it's getting weird, and I'm like, no, it's already weird. We're past
fucking
it's
weird,
getting
dude.
Weird. It's fucking weird. Like, we need to start talking about
double mask was the final line. Yes. Also, I shake everybody's hands. I don't care.
Well, so short abbreviated story. We were living in Pennsylvania when COVID started, and I very quickly realized it wasn't going to go well. So we moved. As we were moving out, I gave the keys back to our landlord, and he looked at me like I was a crazy person for shaking his hand. And I didn't think twice about that shit. And I still don't.
Ugh.
I still throw my hand out there because I'm like, this is human contact. This, believe it or not, no matter how many bitches out there don't like shaking hands, that's an important part of humanity.
Mm.
I mean, it shows up in different ways throughout different cultures, but at the same time, like shaking hands is shaking hands, man.
It's very personal, and you can get a grasp on people. You can tell who's a little bitch.
Yeah, you can read a person through their handshake. It's amazing, but that's essentially lost now.
Yeah, that's
You
depressing.
get crazy looks, man, when you shove your hand out there. And I had to take my car in 2 or 3 days ago to get fixed, and in order, I had to leave it there. So I got an Uber, and the guy, when I put in for the Uber, the thing comes up that says wear your mask, and I went, fuck, I'm not wearing a mask. I live in Florida. I can do whatever the hell I want to. But I see that and I was like, oh no. So I messaged the guy who was coming. He was like 18 minutes away. I said, hey, I don't have a mask. Is that cool? And he didn't answer for a while. And he said, okay. I was like, okay, that's fine. He gets there and I'm like, just to make sure, I don't have a mask. Are you going to take me the 5 minutes it takes to get me home? He said no. He said Uber wouldn't let him.
Then why did he show up? Why not just cancel the ride then and there?
I don't know, but I deleted every Uber app from my phone because I'm like, fuck you people.
I got kicked out of class one day because I forgot to grab a mask. I got into class and I was like, I don't have a mask. Do I have to leave? 5 people in that class, not including the teacher. No, including the teacher. I was in the top row. Everybody else was 15 feet down the auditorium.
Wow.
And he was like, "Did you leave class?"
Yeah, he was like, in all safety alerts. I was like, "Fine, got you." I just fucking left. I went home. I was like, "I'm not dealing with that shit."
Are they gonna penalize you like an absence for? They told you to leave. Okay, good, because that's bullshit.
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't gonna do anything. It doesn't matter. It was one of my easier classes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm not in college anymore.
It's terrible because it's a joke. I know it's a joke. I'm paying for a joke. I'm paying for a piece of paper. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Are you fulfilling something that you want to do, or is it just sort of like what you did next?
I'm going to be a history teacher. So
that's cool.
That's kind of what I always wanted to do, half kind of whatever. So there's that.
Then it's not a waste.
Well, the degree part of it's a waste. I've learned more about history on the internet, just doing various things, reading on my own, than I'll learn in class.
Yeah. You need to read that book we were talking about.
It's actually on my list. I think it's next after I have a bunch of school reports I got to do. So I got to read boring books.
I find that as I'm a big history fan, like an amateur history person. I find that I have favorites that I stop in for a while. And like for a long time, I was into the Russian Revolution and I studied nothing but so what is your wheelhouse right now? Where are you partying in history?
Pirates.
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
Man.
My that same class is a higher level class, so you get a little leeway. And he basically like, pick a book, pick a topic. I'm like, for what? He's like, just pick one. I'm like, I need to know the assignment. So I just went pirates. And he's like, all right, here's a book, the thing. And so I got to read a book about Captain Kidd, which is cool because I'm not reading any other stuff. Everybody else listening to people, they're not thinking outside the box. Every other person is doing civil rights, slavery, plantations, stuff like that. And I'm like, why? Yeah. This is going to be a semester-long thing he's going to make us do. If he didn't tell us the topic immediately, it means we're going to be doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
One interesting thing you could throw into your Pirates deal is it's in a renegade history of the United States, but apparently there was a lot of gayness in Pirates, and that's mentioned in there. So that could be a very interesting aside.
I'm gonna have to find that. Like I've heard about it. There's always gay shit going on throughout history. Just look at Europe.
But they didn't have the same the social restrictions that people who followed the law would have. And so it was an attractive lifestyle for people who wanted to be, openly homosexual. You could do that on a pirate ship. Nobody cared.
Also, it's like prison gay because you're on a ship for months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, prison gay is masculine. Yeah.
No, pirate gay and prison gay are pretty close. Yeah.
The difference between regular gay and prison gay is after prison gay, you're both still masculine men that are going to beat the shit out of other masculine men and then rape. Oh,
well, that and the scurvy.
Oh, scurvy.
Yeah.
Isn't that just from like a lack of vitamin D or some? No, not
vitamin
D.
C.
It's vitamin C. That's why they called the English limeys, because of the scurvy that they would get on the long trips because they wouldn't have access to citrus. They figured out to bring limes with them so that they wouldn't get scurvy anymore. And they called British people limeys.
Another thing that was invented in order to prevent scurvy, apparently, was sauerkraut.
Oh,
Sad.
okay. The Germans love that shit, man.
Yeah, the Krauts. Yeah, they're probably there are probably some gay pirates in the German world as well.
Gay piracy and sauerkraut.
I mean, they go together. You put it in between two buns with a wiener.
Yeah, history.
So aesthetic.
History has definitely been one of my areas of interest as well. I did a long time in like medieval and Scottish history.
Okay.
That was like my jam.
William Wallace.
The family Wallace is part of my heritage. He didn't have any kids.
That's pretty cool.
But it's in my family line. And so, I come by this freedom shit pretty honest.
They were gruesome with his dick.
Well, so
they paid special attention to his dick.
in Braveheart, they missed this part, but they missed a lot of stuff in Braveheart. But they had the Battle of Stirling in Braveheart, but in reality, it was the Battle of Stirling Bridge. And what the Scots did is they forced the English to come through this narrow bridge, and then once any of them got through it, they were ready, and they killed all of them. And William Wallace is said to have, after they won this battle, the main commander, he skinned him from the back of his neck to his butt.
Oh shit!
Holy shit!
And made a belt for his sword out of that skin.
Oh my god, that is savage, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If you don't think that shit's interesting, I can't tell you what is.
Question for Perky here. Are you going to be a high school history teacher? And if so, does that mean you will also be a coach? And what will you be the coach of?
High school, yeah, probably. I probably wouldn't be a coach of any like sport. If it came down to that, I'd probably in my high school we had a teacher that taught weightlifting or whatever, and then would hang out in the gym afterwards. So that's probably what I would do, because I've been a gym rat since high school.
Okay. Because all through my high school experience, every history teacher that I've ever known was also a coach of some kind. So
very typical.
They go hand in hand.
Pretty much.
I wanted to know if you were keeping the tradition up.
I don't know. I just hope I don't have to work in public school, because I won't take it. I won't do it.
You're gonna be a corrections officer.
I don't want to teach American history and then all that. It's boring. Everybody knows it.
Well, it's also mostly wrong.
Yeah, and it's just not fun.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much more I learned when I started picking up books and articles on the internet. Like you said earlier, how much shit I learned that was just completely fabricated, and even in private schools that I went to. And I was like,
really?
What have I been reading? Because this is definitely not what these letters that these men wrote said. Like, this is a very different situation. So, yeah, like I said. It's
like the King of the Hill joke when he's like, oh, look at the history books. The Alamo is only this big of a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. There is one thing that I wanted to ask you about, Jessica.
Yeah.
What is a time parrot? Because I have to ask about this.
I Googled it for a little bit today.
And it's nothing. It's literally nothing. Okay. I'm so sorry that you Googled this stupid bullshit. I posted something on Twitter. I don't even remember about what now. And it was about atheist. Okay. Let me start this story over again. There is such a thing as a Twitter atheist. That is not the same thing as just the atheist in general, which I don't have any problem with atheism or atheists. There are just Twitter atheists, which are their own species of thing. And they all either share the same joke book, or they have this like reflexive reaction to any mention of the Bible. And it's like, okay, I'm Christian, but I'm not like a pushy Christian or a shit like any, but I made a lighthearted joke about how I try to stay keto, but bread is in the Bible. It's a joke about how I cheat on my diet.
Yeah.
It's not really about the Bible. But I had like dozen or more comments that were verbatim the same joke from these Twitter atheists, which are all like, well, slavery's in the Bible too, or whichever like evil thing they were picking out. And I was just like, so are you having a knee-jerk reaction to the word Bible, or are you
absolutely
are just sharing the joke book with each other? Like,
it's the same thing as the other people. They just run through the same script.
Right. So I posted something about like, look, I've heard this rhetoric before. I don't find it convincing. You can stop wasting my time, parrot, because they're parroting each other. But I forgot to put the comma in between time and parrot. Gotcha. And so some intrepid Twitter person said, I would like to own a time parrot. And it spiraled into something stupid from there. Like,
that's generally how the internet works.
Right. And so people like picked up on it and like made jokes about it. And I'm like, this is literally nothing.
And I do think that between the three of us, we perfected the concept of the time parrot, though.
Well, I found those paintings of like the psychedelic parrots. And I was like, these are awesome and brilliant. And you used the one that's in the background right now. I forget the name of the artist, but those are really cool. And so
it is a really cool picture.
Yeah, I'm at least glad that I kind of got to like, hey, check this cool art out. But yeah, the time parrot is nothing. And
Twitter atheists, I will say,
yes,
being related to hardcore, real dumb Christians, and I mean this like real annoying.
Say your truth, brother. Say it.
The far annoying atheists are way more annoying than the far annoying Christians, Catholic, whatever. Right. They're way worse because they don't want, like, it's okay to say you don't believe in a God, but you can't say with a straight face that there is no God. You can't, because you can't do it. Just like they go, there is no God. It's like, you can't say that. And you can't.
If you have an evangelical belief, if it's a religious belief that there's no God. Right.
But it's more in the tangible sense. They'll throw that in your face, but you can't throw it back. That you can't prove that there isn't one. And they just run through the same script, and it's so annoying to deal with those people.
Yeah. They're like the vegans of epistemology.
It's like vegan cross-fitting atheism. Like, what's going on because they cannot not tell you. Like most people, they don't know I'm a Christian for the most part because it's not something that comes up on a day-to-day conversation. And sometimes when it does come up, it'll be a surprise to people. And they'll be like, oh, I didn't know that about you. I'm like, yeah, like it's just not really something I talk about. So like when people, to make a joke, it's just a joke about my diet.
Yeah.
And then like my joke about that little girl.
Yeah. I had that same thought when you said that. I was like, they can't help themselves.
They really can't.
Yeah.
It's like, so the other day I got jumped on a little bit, not a whole lot, because I tweeted out that I would never trust my daughters with a male feminist.
Yeah, that's smart.
It is a funny statement that I made, but at the same time, it's absolute fact.
Yeah.
Because I know that Jessica knows this, but so many of the male feminists that I've run into on a personal level have been almost predatory towards women. It's like those are I mean, you could say it's the nice guy syndrome or whatever, but it's like those are the guys that are going to be like they're just aiming to get into pants, and they get mad when
they really are.
And so it made me. What was funny about it though, it was right after that I ran into a whole bunch of people getting pissed off about Pepe Le Pew being canceled.
People know he's the bad guy, right? Like everybody knew growing up he was the bad guy and what he did was wrong.
I don't even remember because I was a young child when I watched Pepe Le Pew.
I only watched that shit on Boomerang when I used to get high and go on the higher channels.
I just assumed that's how French people were. And just, if you know what you're getting into if you go to France, that's all.
The PSA for travelers.
But yeah, male feminists, those are typically bad dudes and predatory.
You know about the cult that I was in, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
cult?
I was in a cult, so to speak, not like a
Religious
Jim
cult.
Jones kind of cult, but an ideological cult. So I was involved in a online
Internet
group.
atheists.
Yeah, internet atheists, and it got very cult-like, and I was very participant in that cult-like behavior until it got turned on me, and then I like kind of got woken up to what was going on. But long after I had been excised from the cult, it turned out the leader of that cult, who was very much a male feminist, got outed as a sexual predator who was like grooming all of these abused women. And he would specifically go after women who had come out of abusive relationships. And he would kind of like, I don't know, screw with their heads. And like all these like chat logs came out. It got really dark. There's an article I can actually post about it. But yeah, this guy got rid of me. He singled me out and got rid of me, mostly because I don't think that I could have easily been groomed or could have gone along with what he wanted to do. So I forgot what my crime was. Oh, that's right. When they beat up Rand Paul, I didn't think that it was a good thing to just go around beating people up, even if they were Republicans. And so I spoke out against that, and they threw me out of the cult, and it was devastating to me. These were my like friends. I was like, am I really a white supremacist? For like months, I thought, oh my God, I'm like a Nazi, you know, like, and I just didn't know it. And yeah, it was really horrible for me. And I'm glad it happened now, of course, because like it gave me the opportunity to like listen to ideas that went outside of my little ideological realm. But yeah, so it turned out that guy who was like the champion of male feminists actually was like grooming these like women coming out of abusive relationships. And that really forms my idea. That guy interacting with that like cult leader of a person is my quintessential archetype of a male feminist. And they are predators through and through. Hey, person.
Yeah. Well, here's an gotta walk the dog through.
I don't know.
But yeah, that was one of those things that I got jumped on by some of the male feminists who were like, you know, I consider myself a feminist, and that's because I don't judge based on genitals, yet here we are. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. I was never considering you for my daughters anyway.
Those are weird people, man.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. And what was the other thing? And then he was like, well, I assume what you meant were the people who were feminazis and are trying to take over. And I was like, neat, cool. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Shut the hell up.
The good thing about those people is they make it very, they cut right to the point of people you don't want to talk to. Mm-hmm. They let you know real quick that you don't want to talk to them.
It's beautiful. That's what's been good about the masks, is you can very clearly tell who your allies are.
Lines are being drawn, and there are visual indicators of who's on what side. And that's
dude, the Bed Bath and Beyond brawl the other day was lit. Or the candle place or whatever. It was like 3 ladies at the candle place tackled this one other lady. It was hilarious. They got in this huge fight. I'm pretty sure the workers got arrested, or not arrested, fired. But it's like people are fighting each other over the masks.
That's so ridiculous to me.
That on the face looks like it's about the masks, but it's about all of the weird social conditions going on in our country right now that are just like bursting out on the streets. Or, you know, everybody drives, nobody walks the streets anymore, so it's bursting out at the mall. But like, yeah, that's all our weird social baggage. Those people taking the internet to the streets.
Weird. Well, it's like the masks are just one of the physical embodiments of like language that we've had over the past decades. Like you no longer spell woman with an A, you throw an X in that place. You don't say Latina or Latino, you say Latinx. The most recent one I ran into was folks, where they removed the KS from folks.
I saw that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
How fucking stupid is that?
I forget what it was exactly about, but it was something about like black people and like the language that they learn or something. And I'm like, you realize that this makes black people look stupid. They can't learn like real language. It's like, how dumb do you have to be?
Isn't it weird how often the woke shit sounds like shit you would hear coming out of like the classic KKK?
It's amazing.
Black people are too dumb to get an ID and vote. And you're like, that shit's racist. Like, what the fuck are you saying that for? That's completely untrue. But,
or the
you know,
Coca-Cola one where they're telling you not to show up on time and not to do a good job. And it's like, how are you going to relate excellence? Not what the fuck was it on preparedness and all these good qualifiers. And I'm like, you're making it look worse.
Yeah. It's terrible. And it would piss me off if this is how I was being represented by my government. Like, oh, you're too stupid to get on the internet. We have to, ensure that happens because you're just poor you're so dumb you can't do it. I'd be like, fuck you, man.
It's an entire wing of an entire political establishment that's doing it. Mm-hmm. Like the Wakanda thing when they're all doing the Wakanda crosses or the kneeling with the robes. I'm like, what are we watching? We're watching clowns.
Yeah.
Watching that 205-year-old woman try to stand up from the kneeling position was great. It's like, you could do it. You could do it.
Honk.
Dude, I don't know how she even has the energy after not having any place to put more fucking ice cream after showing off her two $12,000 fridges.
Right. Well, it's like Biden. You can clearly tell when he runs out of adrenochrome. Like, like that dude just falls off.
You going all day.
But there was something that I came across on Twitter. I haven't looked into this or seen anyone talk about this, so I want your opinion on this. So I came across this video. I forget what the video was about, and I'm not going to play the video with sound because I don't care what he's talking about. But I scrolled past this video on Twitter, and I was like, this shit looks like a deep fake. And I just want look at this. I know that the audience in audio is not going to see this. I'll link to this video in the description. But tell me that it doesn't look like this has CG on it.
I know, right?
It doesn't look like the face goes exactly with the body.
It looks like the top of his head is 100 years older than the bottom.
Right. Well, and it looks like I can't quantify this thought, but it's covered with a suit. But I swear to God, somehow his like neck down looks younger.
Yeah, I see it.
And I mean, like I just kind of scrolled past this, and there's nothing about it that looks real to me.
That angle's even worse, actually.
Does he have a fat lipper in right now? Like dip?
Oh my God, I see what you're talking about.
But no, this does not look real to me. It looks like it was mapped onto someone who could stand up for longer than 4 minutes.
Would there be a way to prove that? Could you have something like this analyzed and prove that?
I mean, yeah, there are going to be artifacts and different things in the video that people can look at, but there are just these little things, like the lighting's kind of off in some places.
Yeah, it just looks fake.
And it's so bizarre because I'm not like, I haven't really dipped too far into the conspiracy of Biden. I mean, he's a puppet. Everyone knows he's a puppet. That's why he was elected.
But a CGI puppet, I mean, this guy could die and no one would ever know.
I swear the masks only exist so they can just pump audio so Biden can just shut up. Anytime he takes the mask off, he stumbles his words or whatever. Anytime he's in an official meeting or whatever, and he's got the double masks on, you just see like little movements. Perfect audio. Doesn't make a stumble or anything.
This looks fake. Look at his mouth.
I'm telling you. I don't know if it is, but looking when I scrolled past 2 seconds into it, I was like, this looks like a deep fake. This does not look real to me. And it makes, I mean, you know how this whole election went with him getting the nomination anyway, was a backroom deal with Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg and all of that. Yes, it does remind me of Henry Cavill's Superman in Justice League when they erased his mustache. Yeah, but you know, he was essentially a puppet that they wanted to, the establishment needed an old person that the old people would vote for, and they brought in on Kamala to bring in the younger, more progressive people, and they got everyone behind him. But knowing that he is essentially a figurehead and a puppet, you see that and you go, huh, maybe he's a computer-generated puppet now.
That's disturbing.
Isn't it?
The president could die and they could just like.
This is elder abuse.
Yes, and that's what we've all both of us have been saying that as well. The whole deal with Joe Biden this whole time, I think Jill Biden probably needs to be jailed for elder abuse.
Yeah,
it's criminal. The dude can't think straight.
It's also a job that ages you, like mentally. The presidents, they go gray and their faces sink and those types of things. I mean, 4 years is not that long to age the way that these people do.
It's a heavy stress job.
Yeah, no doubt. So putting like a 105-year-old man in charge of the nuclear weapons seems stupid.
Didn't they want to take it away from him? They wanted to take it away from him. What kind of fucking joke do we live in?
Well, like months ago, I made a joke on Twitter about him calling a lid on the day at like 9 a.m. I had made a joke. Yeah, he called a lid on the day 15 hours ago. And then a couple months ago, someone tweeted, oh, wow, Joe Biden just called a lid on the day at 8 a.m. And I was like, shit, I was an hour off. I gave him too much leeway. And I didn't even know what a lid was until this election cycle.
In my day, a lid was something else. Yeah. It was something you would light. How old I am.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
So a lid is when a politician or someone who is making public appearances decides that's the end of the day for them. They're not going to make any more appearances. They're not going to talk to anyone. And so Joe Biden was calling a lid during the campaign at like 1 p.m., 12 p.m. And so it was like, Trump's going till 6, 7 p.m. at night.
Dude, Trump's on some type of government-run meth. Dude, that guy is a tank.
Yeah.
But Biden was calling them early. So that's where that joke came from is, oh my God, he's ending the day so early. And then he legitimately ended it one day, I think at 8 a.m.
Yeah. He's old. He's really old, though. I mean.
Yeah, he probably wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's he's only got about 4 good hours in him. So they need to be real careful about when they let him out. Right. I mean, like no, it's for this is that sounds funny, but my first job was in a nursing home, and people with dementia, they get some good time during the day, but there's a window, and then when the sun starts to go down, that's when things start to get hairy, and especially the women would think, oh, it's time for me to go home and cook my husband dinner, so they would all break for the doors. And you would kind of have to distract them away from the doors instead of telling them that their husbands had died 20 years ago. Yeah, it's called sundowner syndrome. And so people with dementia, they, you can kind of lead them away from their distraction. But once the sun starts to go down, it's really hard for them to keep cogent and keep it together. So with Joe Biden, I think it's really plain, and that's why they don't have him go out after a certain hour. That is to me, having experience with dementia patients, and now I'm not a medical professional, but I have experience with people with dementia. And when the sun goes down, that's it. Oh. Sorry, my feed is
You're good.
Oh, there you guys are. Hi. Sorry.
The sun was going down on your feed.
And the sun was going down on my feed. Yeah, so it is kind of sad, but but so that's why I think there is that, to me, is evidence that Joe Biden
Digital
does have some kind of mental decline.
I mean, do you remember several months ago? I forget which shooting it was. I think it was the one that bitch David Hogg always talks. It was a part of. Was it Parkway? Parkland. Parkland. One of the guys that died several months ago, they put together a video and deep faked his head onto some other kid and made him give a speech that was anti-gun. And it was one of the most disgusting uses of a dead person I've ever seen in my life.
They were advertising it all over. It's so weird.
Wow.
It's just a weird culture we live in where we're just glorifying not glorifying the dead, but using them as a prop.
Yeah.
To push policy.
Mm-hmm.
The parents.
The parents.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Like,
but in a way, children have become like the ultimate prop of our society. We're in this weird child worship culture where everything, even stuff that's not supposed to focus on kids, does. And something about that's fucked up. Like, we need to not focus on children so much.
When that came out, that video, I actually had Suzanne Sherman on the show with me, and I called it digital necromancy. But that was what was so disturbing to me, was that they would raise a child from he was a teenager, but still raise a child from the dead to use as a cudgel against people who were pro-gun. And I said then, and I still think it was timed within the election cycle, because there were no kids in schools to shoot up schools, that they needed some kind of anti-gun sentiment out there that Biden and all of the Democrats could play off of.
So you think if there was the actual school, there would have been a shooting?
I think that whether or not those are natural events, I think that a lot of them are. They're kids who were suicidal and want to get shot by a cop, and that's how they do it. But the lack of them this last year left a a narrative hole within the Democrats' talking points that
for
they
guns
had to
at
fill.
least.
Yeah. And that they had to fill, and I think that was made precisely so that they could fill that hole and have that conversation anyway.
Just so weird.
Bizarre. But yeah, moving past that, Jessica is a kind of prepper type, and she owns chickens. And she had some bad news this week, and I do want to talk about this because I have questions about this Roswell chicken man that you mentioned to me.
Yes,
because you say Roswell. You say Roswell chicken man, I imagine Area 51 shit, like an alien that looks like a chicken. And
giant chicken rooster man.
Right. I need some clarification.
No. Okay. So everybody from Georgia knows about the chicken man of Roswell. A couple of years ago, there was the city of Roswell in Georgia passed some ordinances about how many chickens you could have on a certain size of property. And the chicken man had over that amount. And it ended up in this like years-long legal battle between the city of Roswell and this older gentleman who just should have been grandfathered in, having had those chickens before any of these laws passed. But instead, because he showed defiance to the city government, they made his life a living hell. He was arrested by a SWAT team one time. They like busted up onto his property. They would like seize his chickens. All this stuff happened, and they eventually drove him to kill himself, which he did with explosives. They were coming to arrest him, and rather than be taken into custody, the chicken man, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name offhand. I mean no disrespect, took his own life. So the city of Roswell, Georgia, drove an old man to kill himself because he defied their chicken ordinances. And it's a terrible, basically the population was not with the city on this one. It's a terrible tragedy, and it caused a lot of cities in Georgia to lift some of their chicken ordinances, or just not be such dicks about it, because chicken owning is becoming more popular. Self-reliance is becoming more popular, and it's butting up against these like overreaching government laws. But that leaves us, that's a deep stain and a deep tragedy that this poor old man was just driven to such a terrible end because this city government could not leave well enough alone. They couldn't have somebody flout their authority. And so I wanted to have chickens. We moved out to the country about 6 years ago. We had like a snow event in Georgia that shut everything down, kind of like what happened in Texas. And I lived in the middle of a city, and it really freaked me out how everything could just be shut down like that and stay down for days and days. And we didn't have any food. It got really scary. So I said, you know what? We're moving to the country, and we're going to have chickens, and we're going to learn to do for ourselves. And 6 years later, I've moved to the country. I've bought property. I've made all of these things happen. And my neighborhood, as of a week ago, was rezoned as city property. And I am no longer allowed to have chickens because my property is under 2 acres.
What?
So, yeah, my husband was literally in the middle of our chicken coop build. He has already sunk the posts and, like, yeah, we bought all the wood. Like, it was underway. And so the code enforcement truck for the city, I don't want to say my city, I almost said it. The city code enforcement truck has rolled through our neighborhood twice last week, and then it rolled through our neighborhood today, and it stopped in front of our house. So I believe that they're aware our chicken coop is being constructed and plan to do something about it. And with the memory of the Chicken Man of Roswell, I am not prepared, as anarchist as I am, to fight City Hall on this one. That I'm just going to move and buy property that is more carefully zoned. But it's a huge blow. It's so we all found this out this week, and then literally that code enforcement truck stopped in front of my house today. Yeah, so
a shame.
Yeah, and so I don't want anybody to blow up. I'm just gonna move.
Yeah, don't blow up.
Yeah.
Not over chickens.
Yeah. So, but I think there is a city councilman that lives in my neighborhood, and there's a guy across the street from me that has just recently gotten chickens too. So I don't know if like he has talked to somebody at City Hall and made them suddenly rezone our neighborhood. But like, if I knew more about the law, I could fight this, but I don't. And they rely on that to like I can't, what am I going to do? I'm going to hire a lawyer. Like it would be easier for me just to put my house on the market than it would be to fight this.
The only thing I could see it being is a grandfather law of some kind, but yeah, I'm not a lawyer.
Neither am I. So I'm just like, yeah, home values are going up. Maybe I can get something for this house and get out of here.
Hey, that's a profit's a profit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Chicken Man of Roswell, if you guys are ever interested in what a son of a bitch, local governments can be too. Because I know that tends to be like the libertarian answer for everything is like, well, we'll let local governments do everything. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, they're just as bad as their larger counterparts. Believe me, they want you dead rather than non-compliant, and they'll carry it to that end every time.
Yeah, small town government is going to get what they want because they know what are you going to do? You live there. That's where you live. They're going to bully you when you go to work, when you go home. Mm-hmm. They know where your kids go.
Yep.
And if you're not a master welder with a really big bulldozer, there's not much you can do about it.
And it's not like that guy had like a great deal of success with his method either. That's a no-win situation.
Yeah, it really isn't. There's nothing really you can do except be a lawyer and hope the system works, which is the problem, is hope the system actually works. The judge isn't in somebody's pocket, doesn't owe somebody a favor. You never know.
That city councilman pulls way more water in this town than I do. I'm a housewife, and I just want to be able to have chickens. I don't want to be embroiled in a 5-year-long legal battle just to find out I can't have them anyway.
Yeah, you can go financially bankrupt and
for what? And then raise the ire of the city officials and have them looking at me. And the corrupt Georgia sheriff is like a literary trope, like
really
it is.
That's how common. Yeah.
Does he have a white cowboy hat too?
Yeah, you should see these people around here. They are literally like a stereotypical small Georgia town. Like, I'm not gonna fuck with any of these boys.
Let me. You said you were a gym rat your whole life.
Yeah.
Were you ever a chunky boy?
No, I was lanky.
Because See, because I grew up being a chunky boy, and I had this memory the other day of when you went into J.C. Penney or wherever, and I had to get clothes out of what they called the husky section. And I made a joke about the husky section, and then I was like, wow, I haven't thought about that in a long time. And so I was like, do they still have those? This seems like a kind of a strange thing to call it. Why don't,
Yeah.
But they apparently, maybe like Kohl's or something still has one. But when I was searching husky section, I found an article about how recently, I think within the last year or two, they released a Ken doll, because they made a fat Barbie. And so they were going to make a big Ken. And they were initially naming him Husky Ken. And apparently they had focus groups with a bunch of millennials about this. And all the millennial boys started bitching about their trauma of having to shop in the husky section.
Holy shit.
And I was like, I remember it as a kid being kind of like, well, it's a bummer that I have to go there. But I always thought husky was kind of funny. And I'm like, I'm bigger than you. So, I mean, like, I didn't have any trauma over it. But it was just so funny reading this article where they were just, what was it? 90% of the men polled about, they went with broad Ken. That's what they called him. But they polled about this were talked about their trauma from having to shop in the husky section. It's like, geez.
Trauma. Jesus Christ, dude. The Old Navy section in the back gave you trauma.
Are you Googling it now, Jessica?
Well, I'm Googling the fat Barbie because I was curious. Barbie's proportions are so they're like out of regular proportion already. So to like fatten her up, like which of these out of proportion things are they choosing to make larger?
Hopefully
they actually did a fairly decent job with it. They made her hips wider, and her face is less angular. So
did
she
you
actually
find broad Ken?
Is it called broad Ken? Is that what they landed on?
That's what they went with, which I think is,
You could probably just make a fat Ken and you'd have equally success.
Fat Ken, let's see.
But yeah, no, when I heard broad Ken, I was like, oh, it's transgender Ken.
Is that the fat Ken? He's not even fat. This is not fat. This is not fat representation. I'm really mad about this. I don't feel
seen.
No, this is not fat Ken or broad Ken. They really went with that. Someone greenlit broad Ken.
I laughed so hard at those poor little white boys that were so disappointed about being husky.
Oh, they look weird naked.
Oh my God.
So like the chins are abnormally hold on, I don't know how to do it in the camera. The chins are abnormally pressed forward. They're very odd looking dolls.
Oh man, these are so weird.
Are you looking at them?
Yeah. They're just so weird.
I am so glad I was able to bring this to you guys.
This
man.
Uncomfy. I feel very uncomfy.
All because I flew the time parrot back into the husky section of J.C. Penney the other day.
There's one of him in a little barista outfit, and he's got a man bun.
Oh my God, it's too funny.
That was the thing. We talked about the time parrot.
It's only $10. I'm gonna buy it.
I mentioned I should get one. I mentioned that that we perfected the time parrot because in our conversation, us three, we started talking about what we imagined that would be like, and we thought about Iago as voiced by Gilbert Gottfried from Aladdin, and how he would. I said, if he went back in time and whispered into different influencers, or I think he said different influencers or world leaders over time, and
Kim Kardashian, Adolf Hitler, shit like that.
I have a solution for you.
So wait, did you guys see when they did the history roasts on Comedy Central? Because Gilbert Gottfried played Hitler in the roast of Anne Frank.
I did not see that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it was. So he played, first of all, it was great because not only did they get a Jew to play Hitler, they got the most annoying Jew that they could find to play Hitler. And so so they did history roasts. I think it was the history's greatest roasts.
Okay.
They were great. All of them were great. And they did a roast of Anne Frank, because you roast the people you love. So they wouldn't roast Hitler, they would roast Anne.
Yeah.
So Gilbert Gottfried comes up dressed as Hitler, walks up on stage and goes, "Oh, Anne, there you are. I think I left the oven on." And I fell out of my fucking chair because, Gilbert Gottfried is the master.
His voice just makes everything so much better.
I used to be able to do a Gilbert Gottfried impression, and I tried it the other day because I was going to try to do it.
It's hard.
I can't do it.
It's really hard, yeah.
I mean, like, it's just something that my voice breaks now because I've done way too many of those things in the past. But oh my God, I was just in front of my mirror going, "Why are we walking?" Because for some reason that's my drop-in phrase for Gilbert Gottfried.
I think of him reciting Cardi B's "Wet Ass Pussy."
I like Ben Shapiro for that.
Oh no!
Ben Shapiro version is great.
Is it really him? Did he really actually say it?
He read it on his show, then somebody added the music and shit in the back in the cut. It's so funny.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna get on that immediately.
So I think we should probably get to a wrap-up point. But one of the things I wanted to mention before we get there is that over the last week, Oprah interviewed the royals. So she interviewed Prince Harry and what's the girl's name? Meghan Markle.
Markle.
Yeah, the Deal or No Deal chick.
No.
And so here's the thing about that. We're Americans. We fought a war, so we never had to think about those fucking monsters ever again. And fuck them. That's all I have to say about the royals.
The only thing I know about that story is the furniture those fucking people were sitting on sold out almost immediately, and it was $4,700. The patio furniture. Rich people, bro.
It's crazy watching rich people bitch about their lives.
Well,
Like
it's almost wonderful. It's almost wonderful.
Someone said to me, well, I kind of feel bad for her because, they didn't want to give her medical care. And I'm like, between her and her husband, they're fucking millionaires. There is no denying them health care.
She's
what
a
are
fucking
you
princess.
Talking about?
She's a princess. What the fuck? She can walk into any place and they'll suck her dick. They'll make her a dick and they'll suck it.
She's not Michelle Obama.
Oh, sorry.
I love how the British people are like, "You're breaking up the band, Yoko. Get the fuck out of here." Like, there's no side that like supports her.
She's a little snake, and you can tell. Just look at her.
Yeah.
I just don't know how anyone gets off going on millionaires going on a billionaire talk show to talk about how fucking oppressed they are.
Yeah, they're just so sad. They probably have a million mansions on a million different islands in a million different countries, and they could just disappear and nobody would ever hear from them again.
I do need to say fuck the royals again because this has gotten so much press, and Prince Andrew literally raped children.
Yeah.
So I mean, screw those people. But before we wrap up, one of the things I like to ask people on this show is we are not a pessimistic show. We like to find the white pills as they were. And so I was wondering, Mr. Biscuits, what is something for you that you would consider a white pill or a piece of hope that you think people now can kind of cling on to and see as a way to a positive future?
People are laughing at the system.
Yeah.
And people are finally starting to wake up and realize that whatever political party, your leaders don't care.
Yeah.
So even though it might be a little depressing, it's a good thing that people are going to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the crash of society is by white pill.
Absolutely. which is coming ever sooner, and we just got to be ready for it, man.
It's a train just going sideways.
It's beautiful destruction.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like right now, that's what the white pill is choosing to view it as comedy rather than tragedy.
Yeah.
And that's where we are, the absurdist portion, because we're kind of absurdists in that way.
The system sucks. What are you gonna do? Cry every day? What does that change?
Nothing. Why let these people control you?
And just laugh. Just laugh at it. Eventually you'll get banned off of this platform or that platform, and then you go laugh at the retards on another platform. Who cares? That's just how it goes.
It's true.
There's never a shortage of those.
I do have a fun video. I like to finish the show now with a stupid video that we found online. So I've got one for us. But before we go,
like this one.
Perky, I know that you can be found on twitch.tv/Perky_Biscuits, and you can be found on YouTube.com/Perky Biscuits, and on Twitter it's Perky Biscuits. You have that name, that cross-platform name matching, and it's just beautiful.
I created that name when I was in 6th grade.
Okay, why? Tell me why before we do this.
It was my Xbox gamer tag.
Nice.
A reason? There wasn't one. It's just I needed something funny to say.
I think that's why Ryan, the guy who's controlling all of the comments and the tickers right now, is lumpy oatmeal on things.
That's cute. I like that.
And so, like, the only thing, because I went straight to my name as soon as I was able to grab stuff.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, when AOL came out, we all sat in the room. We were like, we're getting internet, motherfuckers. It's exciting. What do you want your AOL screen name to be? So I will tell you mine. But do y'all remember your first AOL or internet email address, screen name, any of that?
Yeah.
Cannot talk about this. Yes, I do, but we can't talk about it.
Mine was Pizza Cam.
No. Pizza Cam.
I was a husky boy.
A husky young boy on the internet with the screen name Pizza
Looking
Cam.
for love.
Is there anywhere else on the internet that you want people to find you?
No, that's it. I mean, I don't want you guys to find my OnlyFans, so we'll let that be a secret.
Ooh.
I'm already subscribed.
Yeah.
You don't want me to share the wealth?
No, it's a secret.
But let's be real. The fact that you paint your toenails, that's like next level. Attention to detail.
It's I don't like to brag, but a little bit.
All right.
So thank you for coming on. I've had a lot of fun, and if you're down, I want to do this again sometime.
For sure.
It's nice
so,
to
let
meet
me go through the boring stuff for us. If you want to find Jessica, you can go on Perky Tits or Better Than Perky Biscuits. Depends on if biscuits or tits.
That
Are
is
biscuits
not
tits,
my
Perky?
thing.
Sorry, I saw a ticker. I had to respond to it.
What you said and what we'll read on the audio, sir, is if you want to find Jessica, Perky.
Perky
Right.
Tits.
Right, Perky Tits. So yeah, that is not where you find me. If you
want to find Jessica, you can on Twitter. You can just search for it's twitter.com/soupcanarchist. And you can check out if you want to find me, it's at Cam Harless. If you want to find me on Instagram, don't fuck Instagram. But we also have a website, wearethemadOnes.com. We have a little community where we're trying to build and trying to hang out a little bit more with cool people and thought criminals and all of that. You can check that out. It's the cheapest you can get, $2. You can go to themadOnes.locals.com. Am I missing anything? You're on YouTube or youtube.com/themadOnes. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I want to share this wonderful video that Jessica shared with me earlier, and we're going to react to that. And before we react to that, we do have new shows coming up. You'll see it at the end. Next week, we have Ryan Burgett coming on, and we're going to talk about interdimensional beings, clockwork elves, etc. We're going to have fun. It's St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick pushed the snakes out of Ireland. you know, the
He did
people,
that.
if it's a reptilian, let's talk about that next week. Followed by Alex from Whiskey Grenade, the guy who wrote that Wood Chipper Goes Burr song. And then Joshua Smith, the LP nerd, who is part of the Mises Caucus and has a show called, what's it called? Break the Cycle?
Break the
That he's
cycle.
just started doing. And then finally, we have Iowa ANCAP coming on at the first show in April. But beyond that, here's this wonderful video, and we hope to see all of you guys soon. And as always, dear audience, live the life you want to live, how you want to live it. And if anyone tells you any differently, tell them to go to hell.
That shit just stings. My safe word is pineapple juice.
Cross your
We
ankles.
gonna take pictures? Swap man, what's my safe word?
Bring your ankles up to your butt.
That's how far I go. You think I'm in Pilates? Ah! What you doing? Ooh, oh that's cute. Oh, watch your hands, bud. Oh, that's my lighter. It don't work. Don't do drugs, kids. Those are my quarters. You wanna put those in your pocket? That is change. You know how long it took me to acquire those? Some of those are limited edition. Well, that's my flash drive. Don't look at it unless you want to see Big D. That's my wallet. You have no. Ooh. And watch your fingers, booty hole man. He's strong. Ooh. Every strong man got a sensitive side. You like doing the weird shit? What's your safe word? You gotta untie him. Ooh. You need help? I'll hold my boot for you.
Dude, I would just let this guy
Hey, real talk,
go.
though, in my car, I got snacks. Ooh.
Stand up.
You said don't stand up.
Stand up.
Remember what I said? Pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice. All
Oh,
right.
some funny shit.
Thanks again, Perky. Definitely, I had fun. So
Yeah,
if you
thanks
had
for having me
fun,
on.
come back.
Oh,
Awesome.
sure.
See you guys later.
Bye.
All right.